Okay, folks, we're out here at the old Fort Hays, and this is information if you want to read it. U.S. Army operated Fort Hays on this site from 1867 to 1889. In addition to its primary purpose of protecting railroads and settlers, Fort Hays served as a military supply depot for forts south and west of here. The total military reservation included 7,640 acres of land, but the actual fort was composed of 45 major buildings situated on 65 acres. So, we'll go on through and see what we can see. We're inside the I guess the visitor center here. Got the old George Custer here and his sergeant over there.
Okay, so that's where when it's actually in situ, they go ahead, they drill in, and they split.
Right.
Okay, got it.
You can also solid limestone is basically a wood solid.
Well, as I'm driving along and I'm looking at
Why
it,
was there
it's too
conflict?
small, it's too rough.
Yeah, we know why there was conflict.
Because it's easier to break them that way than it is to use all your energy on
European settlers wanted the land and the Indians didn't want to give it up. That's why there was conflict. Yep, I'm going to shut this off till we start outside. Well, here's what we see when we come out of the visitor center. And we'll visit that building down there. You got a walking way here. So we're going to go over here to these buildings first. And he said we can go into all of them. So let's go see what's over here. Go out and look at these signs or storyboards first. And let's see, enlisted barracks. 4 enlisted barracks were hastily assembled during the winter of 67 and 68. They faced the parade ground on 3 sides. Each barrack held a company of 60 to 100 men and consisted of 2 squad rooms, a room for the first sergeant and a small storeroom. The mess hall and kitchen were located in back of the barrack building. Quartermaster First Lieutenant Frank Baldwin requested the addition of washrooms to the barracks in May of 1870. The men now have to wash in the open air, consequently having no opportunity offered them of washing their persons. I therefore consider it a necessity to have the washroom built. A short time later, the request was approved at a cost of $548.40. Yeah, okay, see? Ask and ye shall receive. What is this sign here? Parade ground. Yeah, of course. This is the parade ground. 85 foot tall flagpole, which is out there. And for some reason, they don't have a flag up on it today. That just don't seem right. Officers Row, a series of 10 houses on the south side of the parade ground, was built between 67 and 70. Starting to the left of this house and moving right were the chaplain's quarters, 3 partial duplexes for officers' quarters, the commanding officer's house, 3 additional duplexes for officers and 2 additional officers' quarters, 1 single-family home and 1 full duplex with separate doors and living spaces. So, he said we could go in, so let's go see what's in here. Okay. We come in, there's a stairway. And we have a room here. And no sign to say what it was. Fireplace. There's a room over here. My guess is the parlor. Fireplace, wood burning stove. Looks like an organ or a piano. So, sitting chairs. Go back here. And here is the dining room. I think I've eaten bacon and eggs like that before. So, Go straight back. This is the kitchen. Yep, there's some bread. More bread over there. Cooking stove. All right. And come out of there. Here we have, that's a butter churn. Got some peas. And other stuff, so, okay, not gonna go hungry. And we go upstairs. A couple of small flags. Okay, whoop. Sorry about the fingers. Oh, this hurts my knees. Oh, man. Okay, here. Got a window with 2 chairs. And up. Bedroom. Ladies' dress. Pretty. Soldier's hat. Here's the other bedroom. Oh, okay. Killed my knees to come up, and let's see what happens going down. I'll bring y'all back when we get to the next house. This one here is about Elizabeth Bacon Custer, accompanying her husband, George Armstrong Custer, on all of his military campaigns. Libby Custer saw a view of military life seldom observed by women. When the U.S. 7th Cavalry was headquartered at Fort Riley, they camped at Fort Hays in May of 1867. She tells the story of a wife and children who lived in one half of the officers' quarters. The officers lived in camp tents during the week and received a permit to stay in the quarters on weekends. Okay. And let's see what happens when we go into this one. This is a bigger house, I think. No, it's about the same size. So let's see what happens. Okay. Same thing, come in to the stairs. Going upstairs. Here, I'm assuming this is the parlor. And the bedroom. Big old buffalo. I'm assuming that might be George. I don't know. The hat. And there's an old sled. And we having some rice, some peas, some biscuits, and a chicken. Here we have some tea and cookies, or coffee and cookies, I'm not sure. Thank you for not touching. Oh. And food storage. And the kitchen. And the laundry room. There we go. Got some eggs, some cookies. All right. So let's take a walk upstairs and I'll bring y'all back when I get there. Okay, we are upstairs. Kids' room is what it looks like. There is a bed over here, right there. Wood burning stove, keep them warm. I guess Kansas might get cold in the wintertime. And here we have a baby's crib. It's kind of dark in here, but this is probably what it was like. They got all the curtains closed. Bed, gloves. All right. Well, let's head downstairs. I'll bring you all back in a bit. All right, we'll take a walk down here. I see a silhouette. Looks like a lady with a parasol and a child. see what this was. Commanding officer's house is what it's here. Y'all can see the foundation there. And there's a picture of it right there. So, single family residence built in 1867 was at the center of Officers Row. It contained a parlor, dining room, kitchen, and 2 bedrooms downstairs, and upstairs 4 bedrooms, a servant's room and lumber room, storage room. The house remained at Fort Hays until the 1920s. It served as a residence for the principal of the normal school and was later used by the Fort Hays Branch Experiment Station. Of the 10 houses on Officers Row, 2 officers' quarters and 7 foundations remain. In 1902, 3 of the houses were auctioned off and moved into Hays for use as private residence. 2 of these have been relocated on their original foundations. The other one was torn down. Man, I hate to hear that. So there would have been houses, and you can see some of the foundations. Well, I can't see them on the camera, but I can see them from standing here. But they would have gone down that way. And if they were here today, this is what the soldiers would be looking at. You know, that's looking over in towards the city. There's the flagpole. So, buffalo statue. So, okay, we'll be back. And rations at U.S. military posts during the Indian Wars were notoriously bad and seldom contained fresh vegetables. Gardens added greatly to the nutrition and morale of the men. Fort Hays records indicate that gardens were planted throughout the fort's lifetime. All right, so y'all can read that. Here's the garden. Looks pretty good. I thought those might have been fake, but those are real plants in there. So somebody's maintaining the garden. You know, of course, being a cavalry unit, they had all the fertilizer they needed. So, and here's the outhouse. We have 2 of them. One over there, one over here. My guess is there would have been one behind each officer's house, based on a design for Fort Laramie, a contemporary of Fort Hays. Since no clear, unmistakable images exist of the Fort Hays outhouses, these were for the use of officers, and so had to fit their position. Okay. Yeah, we wouldn't want the officers getting stinky. Okay. And show a silhouette of a tent there, a metal cutout, I guess. You got an officer in a tent. And what does this storyboard tell us? Officers in tents. There they are right there. Okay. Another storyboard here. Sentinel Hill. It says here, the hill approximately 2 miles south of the guardhouse was known as Sentinel Hill. As part of the Fort Hays military reservation, a sentry posted at this location could have seen several miles in all directions. The legend of Elizabeth Polly, also known as the Blue Light Lady, is closely linked to Sentinel Hill. When a cholera epidemic hit in 1867, hospital steward Ephraim Polly was assistant to the fort doctor. His wife Elizabeth comforted patients in the hospital. When she became sick with cholera, she asked to be buried on top of the hill, but it was too rocky to dig a grave. Elizabeth was buried on the side of the hill. Sightings of her ghost were reported in 1897 and have continued to this day. Well, they want her buried on top of the hill, so move her up there. You got the equipment to do it now. And I'm guessing Sentinel Hill would be that high spot right there. Would be my guess. I don't know. So. And here we have Fort Hays Military Cemetery. Oftentimes soldiers who died while fighting were buried where they fell. Most who died at or near the post were buried at the fort's military cemetery, approximately 1 mile northwest of here. Nearly 25 of the 175 buried here were civilians. The first burial was a victim of cholera in 1867. That summer's epidemic claimed 23 military victims. Approximately 1 month's time, the last burial at the post cemetery took place in 1889 after the death of the 5-year-old son of an 18th U.S. infantry soldier. When the fort was abandoned in 1889, the Army decided to relocate the military graves to Fort Leavenworth so they could be properly tended. The residents of Hays City delayed the move, afraid that disturbing the remains might trigger another cholera epidemic. The graves were finally relocated in 1905. And here we have another building. Guardhouse. This is the guardhouse. The native limestone guardhouse was placed in an earlier wooden structure in 1872. And I'm not going to read it all. I'll let y'all pause it and read it if you want to. He said we go in all of them, so let's see here. Okay, kind of dark in here. And these are your cells right here. Ooh, ooh. They even have a big flat screen TV. Man, yeah, you ain't got a whole lot of room in here. Floor is uneven, so if you visit this place, be careful. This one's just got a mat, not even a mat, it looks like more like a sheet laying on the floor. This must have been the troublemaker. Yeah, he's still in there. See him down in there? That's the troublemaker down there. Okay. From early Fort Hays, 1865, 2nd Cavalry enlisted soldier. Y'all can pause that and read it if you want to. And from late Fort Hays, 1889, 18th Infantry enlisted soldier. And here again, if you want to read it, there it is. This video would be probably 10 hours long if I... Okay. How do we know this? Following the guide on. There we go, folks. And here's some tools of the trade. Doctor's kit there. Okay. Go through the bars. Stars. Ooh, we have a cannon. Buffalo soldiers. That was soldiers that went out and shot buffalo. No, it wasn't. But I've heard people say that before. Buffalo soldiers were soldiers that had really black skin and curly hair. Oh, fresh fruit. Yeah. I think the Army's trying to go back to this. 4 men to a bed. Yep, right there. I think I'd be sleeping on the floor. You got Sergeant John Denny. And then you got Private Charles Dill, space, sir, who served at Fort Hays, 1871, 1872. There we go. Hill P. Wilson, proprietor. I'm guessing this is the store. Economic challenges. Look at the taters. Yeah, lots of taters. Okay, onward to the next place. We come out of that building and we have a walkway here. Now, I'm not going to show you guys this whole walkway, but I'll bring you back when we find a storyboard that's interesting. And that's just a back view of the officers' quarters. Right there with the outhouses. This is the well house right yonder. Yeah. Here we have some information about Buffalo Bill Cody. At the age of 17, Cody enlisted as a teamster with the 7th Kansas Cavalry. He gained a reputation as a buffalo hunter, supplying meat for railroad workers. As chief of scouts for the Army, he took part in battles and delivered important dispatches to neighboring military posts. After he became known for his performances in the Wild West shows, he described his early experiences in the Omaha Daily Bee, July 24, 1887. This is the bakehouse. The foundation before you marks a stone bakehouse where all the fort's bread was baked. Okay, and y'all can pause if you want to read the whole thing. You can see out here the foundation here. Yeah. Silhouette of a baker with his I don't know, spatula with a loaf of bread on it. All right. This would have been the laundress quarters. The 4 wooden frame buildings that comprise Sudsville, or Laundress Row, were located approximately 100 yards behind and to the left of this sign. So, okay. And each soldier paid the laundress $1 per month to do most of his laundry, paying extra for overcoats, pants, and bed sacks. With most privates earning $13 per month, a laundress could double her family's income. Yeah. And this is the blockhouse. Here, we'll go in there in a minute. But y'all can read that if you want to. But you have a silhouette of a young lady with laundry right there. And this is where the 4 buildings would have been for the laundry. So we're going to turn around and we're going to go inside here and see what we can see. All right, I'll take y'all with me. I won't shut you off this time. So. Okay. This is a layout of 1867 Fort Hays. There we go. Right there. You can see Officers Row right here. This would have been your enlisted barracks here. Okay. Fort Hays celebrates 150th anniversary, June 17th and 18th, 2017. The Blockhouse and Fort Defense. Officers of Fort Hays, Second Lieutenant Calvin Duval Cowles, Colonel John E. Yard, Lieutenant Colonel Eugene A. Carr, 5th Cavalry, Fort Hays Commander, Captain Charles King, 5th Cavalry, stationed at Fort Hays in 1876. And I think Colonel Yard was here from 1868 to 1886 to 1868 and 1886 to 1889. I think I'll have to go get some lunch. Okay, and here in command, and I'm gonna try to leave these here just a second so y'all can pause them if you want to and read them. Lieutenant Colonel George Armstrong Custer, 7th Cavalry, camped near Fort Hays in 1867 and 1869. Colonel Nelson Miles, Fort Hays Commander, 1869. Captain Albert Barnitz, 7th Cavalry, stationed at Fort Hays, April 1868 to 1870. Okay. This is one of the better maintained forts I've been to. Putting out a lot of information. Some pistols. I love pistols. Sorry for the glare. They got a white light on it, so. That's the blockhouse architecture. Okay. Some rifles. Initially used 58 caliber rifled muskets. Such rifles were muzzle loading weapons left over from the Civil War. 1873, the U.S. Army introduced a new rifle, the Springfield 45 caliber. It was more accurate with a range of up to 600 yards and had more knockdown power than the earlier rifles. It became the Army standard for the next 20 years. That would be that rifle in the center right there. This one on the bottom, within 6 months of the opening of the fort, troops were equipped with 50 caliber model 1866 Springfield rifles called Allen conversions, a conversion of 58 caliber musket. The Allen conversions had a new firing system that made loading and firing easier and, most importantly, faster than the muzzle loaders. Infantry or foot soldiers were issued rifles for long-range firepower and bayonets for close-in combat. Butterfield Overland Dispatch. Okay. Fort Hays life after the Army. I guess if you got somebody to help you, you can stand there and get your picture taken. Popular cultural and popular myth. Restoration and archaeology at Fort Hays. Yeah, with every old fort or settlement, you're going to have the truth, and then you're going to have the legends, the made-up stuff. People embellish. And you can see firing ports here. However, they did say that this post was never attacked, so the defensive positions were never tested. So We'll bring y'all back in a bit. And here we have the Post Trader Store, which is about 50 feet behind this sign, right back in yonder. It's the golf course there now. In fact, there's the green up there. You can see, I don't know if you can see the flag or not. There it is. That's the green there, so, okay. Putting green. So, that's what the store would have looked like. Okay. And right down here we have another one. So let's see what this one says. Band barracks. Gotta have a band. That's what they dress like. I'm assuming their building was right back here. It doesn't say anything about that, but all right. Well, let's just walk this way. We have another one over here. If I'd have came out the door that said exit, I'd have been at it, but then I'd have missed those two. So, my guess, chapel somewhere over here. That's the ice house. 300 yards behind this sign during the winter 1870, 1871, the ice house was built. Somewhere back over yonder, about 300 yards. So that would be across the road over there. So, you got a silhouette standing out there. Let's see what he has to say. Chapel, okay. So that's where the chapel would have been. And that was the chapel. Oh, good, some shade. Woo! We have 4 more storyboards, it looks like. I see foundations right there. Fort Hays Soldier. Post Surgeon's Quarters. Got an old wagon there, one of the original overlanding vehicles. Everybody rides around in comfort nowadays, because he does have springs under his seat up there, so you never know, he might have been comfortable. Quartermaster Complex. Massive Quartermaster Complex was located 100 yards behind this sign. So, sorry about the shadow, folks, but the sun is behind me right now, and these signs are, some of them on the wrong side of the sidewalk. And the post hospital. Right there, 36-bed post hospital. And that's what it looked like with the picket fence on it. So, okay, and that looks like it. We're going to go back inside. All right, see if they got something cold to drink in here, and I'll talk to y'all later. And that concludes our tour of Fort Hays. So we'll see y'all at the next site.